Okay, hey, hello, CLB24, friends and family. It's just me and my big dumb face coming to you. Just wanted to reach out and say I miss you and I love you. And if nobody else has said that to you lately, well, you've heard it from me. If you don't want to see my big dumb face, there's a link in the description that takes you to a video that was shot on the same flip phone they shot the video from last year. I got my son editing things for me, so we'll see how it goes this time around. No flip phone this year, so bear with me. Just realized I'm wearing the wrong shirt. So let's test my son's editing skills. And now I forgot what my line was. Okay, so my son told me he would edit this video, and I just asked him, I just said, hey man, I'm gonna hit play and record it, and all I want you to do is cut out anything that I say that is dumb or offensive. Okay, well, that's it, guys. Thanks for joining. So a lot of you have been reaching out to my wife via Facebook, and because I don't have social media, because that's not a thing I like to do. We've talked about that before, but it's really been kind of cool, all the people who reach out to her and request to be friends so that you guys can pay attention to what's going on in my life. I probably owe some of you an update at this point. But yeah, it's been kind of cool. You know, you guys remember my wife is a Spanish speaking person, so she gets a request the other day and she's like, do you know this guy named Derek Bajesa? And I was kind of standing in the kitchen and I was like, Bajesa. And I'm like, I have no idea who that is. And then I went over and I looked at her phone and I was like, oh, that's Baleza.
Balake. Where is Balake at? There's no Balake here today. Yes, sir.
My name's Blake.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Blake?
And so when I said it's Baleza to my wife, this is what happened. Anyway, keep it coming. I'm happy to talk to you guys through my wife's social media, but I'm not gonna spend any time scrolling on the internet, listening to all the divisive rhetoric that bounces around in social media. But this weekend, Saturday, I had the pleasure of spending time with a lot of our teammates from CLB24 and Nicole G's family. And we spent pretty much the entire day together hanging out at Arlington and in Washington, D.C. And it was a really good time. You know, when you spend time with people's families, you really learn a lot. Nicole's family seems to be full of intelligent, courageous, patriotic, and kind women, which explains a lot about Nicole, and it explains a lot about why we ended up with a stranger at lunch in DC. If you want to know more about that, ask one of the people in the photo. It's probably on Facebook, but I think my son can probably put it in this video too, so that we can look at it. I really kind of want to get down to the nitty-gritty as we pause to remember Sergeant G and the 12 other service members that we lost August 26, 2021 in the bombing at Abbey Gate. I kind of wanted to talk about how difficult it is to talk about that. And so I was recently listening to Jocko podcast, episode number 500, which is fantastic, and I recommend you watch it if you get watch it, listen to it, whatever you do with a podcast. I happen to be listening to it, and if I remember right, it's called Choose to Live. The speech that he gives is called Choose to Live. And in there, he's talking about a Chechnyan soldier who's written a book, and he's quoting the author, and what he says is trying to explain what it was like to be in war to somebody who's not been there was like trying to explain the color green to a blind man. And I thought, that sounds familiar to me. And I'm sure it sounds familiar to all of you as well. Pretty much anytime I start talking about Kabul, HKIA, to anyone, including those who've been to Iraq and Afghanistan before, I get a lot of blank stares, I get a lot of disbelief, and it's really, really difficult to explain something to someone who doesn't have the 5 senses associated with it that the rest of us have. And what I will tell you is that this weekend, the time that I spent with the Marines from our team and the time that I spent with Nicole's family was fantastic, because I was able to talk with people who don't look at me like I'm a weirdo, and people who understand what it was like to be there, and who really appreciate what it was that happened out there. So I guess what I'm saying with all of this is you got to reach out. You've all got my phone number, and you know you can call whenever you want. And if you don't have it, get it from somebody who does. Obviously, I'm not going to put the damn thing on the internet. But if you want to call me, you can call me. If you just want to text, since you guys are weird and you just text instead of call, you can do that too. I might end up calling you. You don't have to answer. It doesn't matter to me. Just know that I'm here and I get it. And I'm willing to entertain whatever conversation you want to have. So please reach out. And I say all of that, even though, I sit over here and I think about you guys every single day. Not a day goes by that I don't think about you guys. I think about the things you did. I think about the way you did those things, and just how full of joy each and every one of you were in doing the things that we were asked to do. And it was a very difficult and crazy thing. And you guys did it, and I'm extremely proud of the time that I got to spend with you. I think one of the biggest things that bothers me is that it seems like a lot of people, they don't know how to understand it, and they're mostly ill-informed about what really took place out there, and what was lost in all the politicizing of the event, and the COVID reporting that took place. It was absolutely unnecessary. What was lost was the brilliance of the 18 to 22-year-old population of our country, from every corner of our country, the things that you all were able to accomplish. And I'm not just talking specifically about CLB 24 here. I'm talking about every single American who put their boots on the ground to do what happened out there. And I can remember, as far as the media goes, a reporter came up to me and asked a question, and I answered the question honestly. And what they asked was, why aren't Americans going out and grabbing people and bringing them in? Because I guess the other countries were sending teams out into the cities to meet up with people, so on and so forth. And I think what they failed to grasp is that not a single one of those countries would have been able to do what they were doing if it weren't for the Americans who were providing the security, and for the Americans who were keeping the airport open and keeping the flight line open, And so that's what I expressed to them, is that it's extremely difficult for us to secure this airfield and to secure this base and go do those things without all of our reinforcements. And then I watched that reporter walk about 10 feet away from me and start recording. And I fully expected to see them telling the American people the truth. Instead, what they reported was that our COVID mitigation criteria was abysmal. And I thought, what a missed opportunity. What a missed opportunity to talk about just how good our country is, to talk about just how good our people are, to talk about just how united, every branch of American military was there, and then the human beings who made it up, just how well they were working together to do such a great thing for the people of Afghanistan. That's the story that should have been told, and that's the story that went unheard. And that's the thing that bothers me every single day. So I have had the chance to talk with a lot of groups of people about everything that took place out there in HKIA. And a lot of people will ask me, how can you continue to serve? Knowing what you know, going through what you and your Marines went through, how can you continue to put the uniform on and show up every day? And I think that the easiest answer for me every single time is, if not me, then who? And I talked about this with some of the guys at Arlington this weekend. And I said, any chance that I can get to put myself between my Marines and the enemy, no matter what that enemy is, I want to be there. If the enemy's ignorance, if the enemy's divisive rhetoric, if the enemy is an actual physical enemy who wants to do harm to our people, I want to be there. Because Sergeant G was there. All of you were there. And you did everything you did for strangers. And I don't want people to forget that. So I'll keep the uniform on as long as I can, so I can keep telling your story to people who will listen. And that's why I continue to serve. All right, so back to the media and their poor portrayal of reality, I would say. And they don't like to tell the truth. They don't like to tell good stories, apparently. They don't like to champion unity. And so we do have just a massive amount of divisive rhetoric in our country that I don't believe. I choose to wake up every day and believe that most people are good. Most people want to do the right thing. Most people don't hate other people just because they look a certain way. There is so much more good in this world than anyone ever talks about. And I know that because I've had the opportunity to serve with some of the greatest people. And they're from all walks of life. And it was the fact that we all chose to identify as a part of something. We said, we are CLB 24, and this is how we live our life. We're going to be physically fit. We're going to be mentally fit. We're going to wear our uniforms right. We're going to take care of each other. We're going to work hard. We're going to train hard. We're going to be ready for anything that comes our way. And we all aligned behind that, and it didn't matter where we were from. Although most of the battalion was from Florida, I recognize that. It didn't matter where we were from. It didn't matter what our family was like before we joined. We chose to be members of CLB 24 in the United States Marine Corps. And it was that unified culture of our organization that led to our success. Individual success, unit success, you name it, it all came because we were able to align with the culture. And it was a winning culture. And if we could get our entire country to understand that there's so much more good in this world, and that we all need to choose to be Americans. We choose to be Americans, we choose to love each other, we choose to care about each other, we choose to eliminate hate. We'll succeed together. We'll win together. And our country can be fantastic. So if you're ever wondering anymore who the enemy is anyone who's spreading divisive rhetoric. And I say that because the critical vulnerability of our nation is in the name, United States of America. That word united, that is our greatest strength, is that we are united. And anyone who's trying to divide us is an enemy, plain and simple. You have to ask yourself, who profits from the divisiveness? It's not the American people. If the American people do not profit from divisiveness, who does? The American people profit from unity. And that's the thing that we need to care about. And I happen to find a song from the Black Eyed Peas. And I'll share it with you. I'm going to read. I'm not going to sing it. If anybody was hoping for me to sing,
Nope.
not going to happen. And obviously this is from 2005. Let's start a union, calling every human. It's one for all and all for one. Let's live in unison, calling every citizen. It's one for all and all for one. We don't want what was, can't take no more. It's drastic time for sure. We need an antidote and a cure. 'Cause do you really think Muhammad got a problem with Jehovah? We don't want war. Imagine if any prophet was alive in current days amongst you and I. You think they would view life like you and I do, or would they sit and contemplate on why? Do we live this way, act and behave this way? We still live in primitive today. 'Cause the peace in the destination of war can't be the way. There's no way. So people just be a woman, be a man. Realize that you can change the world by changing yourself, and understand that we all just the same. So when I count to 3, let's change. Got no time for grand philosophy. I barely keep my head above the tide. I got this mortgage, got 3 kids at school. What you're saying is the truth, but really troubles me inside. I'd change the world if I could change my mind, if I could live beyond my fears, exchanging unity for all my insecurity, exchanging laughter for my tears. I don't know, y'all. We're in a real tough position in the midst of all this negative condition, divided by beliefs, differences, and religion. Why do we keep missing the point on our mission? Why do we keep killing each other? What's the reason? God made us all equal in his vision. I wish that I could make music as a religion. Then we could harmonize together in this mission. Listen, I know it's really hard to make changes, but 2 of us could help and rearrange this curse. Utilize all the power in our voices. Together we will unite and make the right choice. And fight for education. Save the next generation. Come together as one. I don't understand why it's never been done. So let's change on the count of 1. It takes one, just one. And then one follows the other one. And then the other follows another one. Next thing you know, you got 1 billion. People doing some wonderful things. People doing some powerful things. Let's change and do some powerful things. Unity could be a wonderful thing. Now, obviously that was paraphrased. I didn't read the entire thing, but that's from 2005. And our country did unite back then. It did. We were tight. And the worst thing that happened to our enemies' plan to destroy our country was September 11th. Because we were able to unite. Because our country was so united that we elected a minority to the presidency for the first time in our country's history. And we did it twice. And look what has happened since. The enemies of our country have done everything they possibly can to bring us down. But we know the truth. We know the truth about who we are. We know the truth about how we can win. And that's by taking care of each other. That's by loving each other. If you want peace in this life, you have to remove hate from your heart. And that's the only way. All right? In finest Liberty Brief fashion, I will say this. Once again, I miss you guys. I'm here for you if you need me. Remember, you're Americans. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure those things aren't illegal, immoral, unethical, or in violation of the UCMJ. You can have fun. You can be safe. You can take care of each other. And you can definitely call somebody if you need them. I truly am proud to have served with the battalion that would always find a way or make one. Never forget, always remember Sergeant Nicole L.G. Semper Fi. That's it for me.